Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 1991 here, continuing my issue-by-issue review of the story arc known as Superman Reborn, where today I'm going to be talking about Superman number 19, which is part 3 in the Reborn arc for Superman. Alright, so basically what happened after the events of last issue, where we reveal that the fake Clark Kent that we've been seeing since Rebirth is actually Mr. Mxyzptlk. Spoiler alert. The issue starts off with with Superman trying to jog Lois's memory of their son. Unfortunately, Lois has completely forgotten John, and she also doesn't remember that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. So now Superman tries one final gambit with Mr. Mxyzptlk and offers to play a game where if he wins, he brings back John, Lois's memories, and everything works out. Now, of course, Mr. Mxyzptlk agrees to this as long as he gets to pick the game, and he basically takes them to another dimension known as the well, it wasn't given an official name, but the area that they do have the game on is called the Infinity Planet, and it's basically like a huge interdimensional version of the Daily Planet. So, throughout the game, we see that Mixie is trying his best to keep Lois and Clark apart and try to, like, break up their relationship, because, after all, Superman and Lois Lane have one of the strongest relationships in comic book history. And when that doesn't work, and Lois technically win, Mixie tries to weasel his way out of it, because the whole time the game has been going on, he has slowly been destroying their memories of John. And eventually, when they do win, Mixie says, like, contract? What contract? And what son are you talking about? And Superman realizes that he doesn't remember. Meanwhile, John Kent is still trapped in his fifth dimensional prison until he is visited by two red energy orbs. And these energy orbs sort of communicate to John. We don't hear what they say, but we do hear John talking to them as if, you know, he can understand them. And, you know, they agree to help John get out of his prison. And they agree to that. They basically bust out of the prison. John and the orbs bust out of the prison, and when they do finally get free, manage to go where Mr. Mxyzptlk is, the orbs take on the forms of the New 52 versions of Superman and Lois Lane. And that's basically where the issue ends. And I loved Mixie's comment when he sees the New 52 versions and he says, "Deja New 52." That was kind of a funny, that was a funny line. Well, we finally, alright, well, now let's talk about some of the things that happened. First off, throughout the issue, while Superman and Lois are, well, the pre-Flashpoint, Superman and Lois are traveling to the Infinity Planet with Mr. Mxyzptlk, they're surrounded by mysterious blue energy. Now, this isn't the first time the blue energy was sort of brought up in DC Rebirth. It was brought up in Superman Annual #1, which had Superman meeting Swamp Thing, who sensed something was wrong about him and when Swamp Thing went in to take a look at Superman, so to speak, he sensed this weird blue energy. Now, no idea what it means. For a while, it did occasionally make an appearance, and I thought this energy was related to Dr. Manhattan. Now, when we finally see New 52 Superman and Lois Lane covered in red energy, finally the thing clicked for me, and it is basically that this story seems to be a modern version of the classic Superman Red, Superman Blue story arc. Basically, if you don't know what Superman Red and Superman Blue means, it basically refers to pre-Crisis. There was a story where Superman was separated into two versions of himself, one good, one evil. One wore an all-blue costume, the other wore an all-red costume. And an imaginary story where Superman tried to increase his intelligence to solve all the world's problems using a machine powered by various kryptonite, and that led to just two duplicate Supermen, but one red, one blue. And there was also a post-Crisis story back when Superman was in his electric blue phase that caused him to split into two electric beings, one blue, which was more logical and driven by logic, and a red one that was much more passionate and emotional. We can only assume now. Also in this issue, dialogue from Mr. Mxyzptlk hints that somehow at the beginning of New 52. Superman was separated into, well, the way Mr. Mxyzptlk talks is that he makes it sound like all the passion and hope was separated when the New 52 began. That does make sense, as a lot of the New 52, it was definitely a it was sort of a gritty reboot of the DC universe. And also, when the New 52 Superman died, some of that red energy went into Lois. So it is possible that the New 52 counterparts are just one half of the pre-Flashpoint Superman Lois and Clark. Now this doesn't really lead, and obviously if you've seen the cover for Action Comics 976, which will be the finale, you also see that it does feature both Superman, New 52 in red energy, our pre-Flashpoint Superman in blue energy. Obviously this means that this is going to be sort of a new interpretation of the Superman red, Superman blue story, but as far as we know, we don't exactly know what happened really. This could have been a byproduct of Dr. Manhattan altering the timeline of the of the DC universe. I mean, let's face it. To be honest, Dr. Manhattan does feel like the most likely suspect in a lot of the things that we can't find an explanation for in Rebirth. But hopefully next issue in Action Comics 976, when the story arc concludes, we'll finally get a clear understanding, and it is most likely that when the story concludes that the New 52 versions of Superman and Lois will probably be merged with their pre-Flashpoint counterparts. Other things I liked about this issue, though, are probably how, despite all of Mr. Mxyzptlk's attempts and his whole Infinity Planet game, Lois and Clark still managed to be together, which is very impressive. Also, I do like Mr. Mxyzptlk's role in this story arc, because even though he is more sinister in his motives, originally he just only showed up and just wanted to, bug Superman, annoy him for a bit. But now that he actually wants to hurt Superman, it's very interesting. But, despite this new cruel motive, he still has the tactics that he used to have when he just wanted to annoy Superman. In this case, it was playing a game. If he really was, while his motive is sinister, his actual methods aren't really that dark, so to speak. In a way, he's always thought, in a way, Mixie has probably always thought of Superman as just sort of like a playmate for him. And now, even though he's still sinister, he still thinks of Superman as said playmate. To be quite honest, overall, this Superman Reborn arc has been very amazing. I'm loving it. I think anyone that is a Superman fan should be reading it, especially if you've been enjoying all the Rebirth stuff. And I really can't wait for the conclusion this Wednesday. I'm super excited about it. So yeah, that's it for me. What do you guys think? What do you think of Superman Reborn so far? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.